Men of Reddit. What happened in Vegas that didn't stay in Vegas? A friend came back with a drip ED and gave his wife gonorrhea. The funny thing was, she and another married friend were having an affair. All four got it, both divorced. He thought he was a goner, just to find out the marriage was gonorrhea. Edit, half my karma is now a gonorrhea joke. Thought he was a goner, but the clap came back. Lived in Vegas 4 years and worked on the strip. I saw so many men ruin their lives over a weekend with hookers and blow. Come on vacation. Leave on probation. Apostrophe. It's not just men. Those bachelorette parties. For real. This was just on the Ask Men sub. I have stories of bad behaviors across the spectrum of all people in Vegas. Dead bodies. Trick rolls. Crazy arrests. Brother Jesus of Nazareth who believed he had reserved the entire 7th floor of a 4,000 room hotel. My friend won a substantial amount of money playing mostly blackjack all weekend and some other card games. He flew home and the casino began to contact him, asking him to come back and offering free stays. First it was emails, then mail, then phone. Eventually they offered him an all expenses paid stay, flight, car, hotel. Super lavish stuff. He took them up on it, went there and lost everything. So this is a story of something that didn't stay in Vegas, but definitely something that Vegas got back. That's when you go back, but don't set foot in the casino. I went to a bachelor party 30 years ago when my wife was 5 months pregnant. The guys called strippers, and it got ugly. I was having none of it, so I went downstairs to gamble. Some guys thought it would be fun to put the strippers' panties in my suitcase. Good thing my wife knew me. Wow, those guys are major assholes. IKR. Like what's so funny about that? Haha, let's ruin this guy's marriage. I had recently gotten out of a long-term relationship that wasn't nearly as monogamous as I thought it was. One of my friends said I should take a trip to Vegas to take my mind off things and have a good time. She said she'd be the best wingman I'd even seen to make sure that I got laid as much as humanly possible. We are now married. She knew what she was doing. My mans was set up from the jump. He never stood a chance. My manager bragged about outing an entire bachelor party, bachelor included, to their wives and girlfriends that they got hookers, but he totally didn't do it too. Asked some questions to dig a little deeper, and it turns out his wife found his cocaine. And instead of saying it was his, he just spilled the juiciest dirt to her that he had, and then she made him call all their girlfriends on speakerphone to tell them what happened. All of this told to me by my F-boss. I work in accounting. Giving kudos to his wife here. The girlfriends deserve to know that they're together with scums. Cheating is bad enough, but steez are not to be joked with. Went to Vegas in 2011. Out in front of the MGM Grand there's a big lion statue. When we walked into the casino in the afternoon there was a small pack of stray cats by the statue. And I joked to my then girlfriend that they must think the big lion is one of them. On the way out of the casino most of the cats were gone, but there was a single all black kitten, maybe 3 or 4 months old, running around frantically. It was scared, wet, and had probably been left behind napping. I came up to him, and he was all over me, yelling like crazy, rubbing up against me, climbed right up my jacket onto my shoulders when I knelt down, and was purring in my ears. We took him to a local vet, and he wasn't chipped. Booked an appointment for the next morning to have him chipped, fixed, and registered because we were leaving the next evening. I present, Leon, https://imga.com/L0whatkeys, JPG. Named after the MGM Grand Lion statue. The cat did not stay in Vegas. I like to tell people that he's the only jackpot I won. This is the post I needed today. Long and healthy life to you and Leon. I brought my then girlfriend with me when I was on a work trip, and that's when she became my wife of the last 10 years. We ended up pretty well shit-faced and somehow landed in a little white chapel run by a tiny Asian woman who was more than happy to marry us. The funny thing is, my wife was scared to tell her parents, so we went with another wedding a year later. So I've now been married to the same person twice without ever being divorced. That's wholesome as hell, man. Maybe I should go to Vegas with my girlfriend to save on wedding costs. I gave a boring talk at a boring conference. They recorded it and put it on the internet. People around the world are now being bored to death. Drop the link, babe. Find it on his only yawns. NGL, I didn't expect so many marriages, but it's kinda heartwarming. It's either marriage or divorce. Not a lot in between. Some guy broke his ankle and went home with it. Probably the only in between I've seen. Spent 10 years doing casino security. Got a call one night for a fight in a room. Guy had picked up a hooker at the bar and brought her to his room. Not really clear what kicked off the argument, but hostilities ensued. The hooker pulled out a scalpel and cut one of his balls off. Actually, now that I think of it, this is more of a something staying in Vegas story. You kept the ball, right? One of my buddies found out his wife was having an affair, so he arranged a guy's trip to Vegas to get an escape from everything. When we were in Vegas, we all got super hammered playing roulette and blackjack. Went to a hockey game, and one of his former students, who was also intoxicated, professed her obsession over him and hit him with the old, "Whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas." I don't know if he hooked up with her, because I wasn't with them, but they did disappear from the game together, and we couldn't get a hold of him for a day. On the drive back, he told us all he was going to forgive his wife and get into therapy to fix whatever issues led up to her having an affair. They're still married, and I don't know if he told his wife or not about what happened in Vegas, but I'm pretty sure he hooked up with that girl, and I'm sure he told his wife about it, because he's not allowed to go on boys trips to Vegas anymore. I can't really blame the guy for sleeping with another woman, especially when the wife cheated first. So it's her fault. She shouldn't have a problem with him going on boys trips, A former friend went to Vegas for a week-long work conference, got stupidly drunk, and cheated on his wife. During his time cheating, he accidentally sent her proof he was cheating. Dude came back to a completely empty home. About half his bank account. She was fair about it. All she left him was his clothes and his family keepsakes. He just quietly signed the divorce papers and changed careers and moved across the country. Absolutely nobody in a larger friends group sided with him, and nobody remained his friend. Must have been quite unlikable. Usually someone like that gets a couple of friends in the divorce. Yeah, seems wholly unlikable if nobody at least kept in contact with him. Usually you get the empathetic friends who think the person made a mistake, but still a decent person capable of redemption. Maybe the guy was genuinely just a piece of s-lol. Chlamydia. Know that feel. Burn. My credit card was skimmed at some gas station and a bank account was started in my name. Did you get to the bottom of this? Honestly, I can't say yes with any certainty. I tried to close the account once, yet some months later my mom was still getting mail from Wells Fargo for the account I never set up. I filed a police report, but the guy essentially told me that it was just for my records, that they most likely wouldn't ever find the person, and went on this kind of jovial spiel about how hardly anyone who does that kind of crime ever gets caught. Reminded me of that cop in The Big Lebowski a little bit. We've got M working in shifts. My wife and I went to Vegas while she was pregnant with our first kid. Terrible idea. She wasn't up for a ton of walking and couldn't drink. We had a couple little fights while on the strip. For whatever reason we kept running into Brian Posehn in various stores and casinos. I'm a fan, but didn't want to bug him, so I didn't talk to him or anything. I did make awkward eye contact with him a couple times. I can't imagine what it looked like from his side, but I'm sure we seemed like weird stalkers. Got a hilarious memory out of it though. Brian, if you're reading this, we're all good. 2 more kids and still happily married. Not Vegas, but I ran into Brian Posehn at a Faith No More concert in LA. He was real cool and let me take a photo with him. But my wife was wasted, and the photo came out all blurry. She also smacked his ass. Later that night she puked in her purse. We are also all good. 1 kid and happily married. Me. I was born there then moved. I know this very religious Indian guy whose lifelong dream was to visit Las Vegas. So he booked a week in Vegas for him and his family, wife and 2 kids. He recounts that only after 2 days they were so traumatized of all the ungodly things they saw happening in the casinos and out in the streets he came back. to work swearing he'd never go back. Lol. I really wonder what he was expecting. Last Vegas bachelor party a few years ago. A friend broke his ankle crossing a street. That certainly didn't go away on Monday. This is the craziest one I've read. Of all the things that happened to me in Vegas, and I've been there so many times, this is by far and away the one that definitely hasn't. I'm 99% sure I got my wife pregnant when we stayed at Bellagio last year. It's generally pretty easy to tell if they are pregnant or not after a year. He's only 99% sure it's his. We were in Vegas for a bachelor party of one of my closest high school friends. The best man ran a phenomenal bachelor party, giving us an upfront budget that included everything except airfare and food, paid for everything on his card, and then sent us a bill. We partied in suites, in clubs with private booths, and in private cabinets, like rock stars. He even came in under budget, and this covered, like, 30 guys. Most of the dudes were from the business school or college, but there were 4 of us from high school, as the 5 of us have been friends since middle school and are still close. One of my closest friends has always been kind of a black sheep. He's not book smart. He barely got out of high school, didn't get out of college, and went from being a highly active pot user to being a user of basically everything until he went to rehab the 4th time a few years ago when he was addicted to heroin. That said, he's also one of the most honest, sweetest, and good-hearted people I've ever known. I love him. During this part of his life, about 16 years ago, he was also a multimillionaire, having parlayed some office furniture installation job into a southwestern office supply store. Serious. He credited it to doing coke with the owner, who sold him the company as he was getting dragged down into drugs. Seriously, not making this up. It was run out of Salt Lake City, and my friend was hustling and partying like there's no tomorrow, like you could still do in your early 30s. So, at this stage, he's also well into drugs beyond pot. He brought a backpack full of secret pockets I roll with him to the bachelor party, with stuff for every/anyone. Pot, coke, GHB, and some prescription stuff as well. Fully stocked. So, the first 3 days go off without a hitch. Just a blast. Like vampires. We slept all day, pool in afternoon, and fun at night. Now, I'm recently married as was another high school friend. So we shared a room with our wild friend. We were being pretty chill, but we are also having a blast. It was fun to just be there. Did a little gambling. Won a little. Now, the last full day, we are going to some pool club. I want to say at the Hard Rock, but honestly, I don't remember anymore. Anyway, the best man stopped by our room, specifically, to tell this dude to do whatever drug he was going to do now, in the room. Before we go, that security was no joke, etc. And this guy's all trust me, I know what I'm doing. This bag has secret pockets, etc. etc. Sure enough, we get to this pool club and we're in line and security is really no joke. Like, I went in with nothing but a wallet and a cell phone, and they ran my cell phone through an x-ray machine and bent all my credit card/licenses to make sure I didn't have a razor blade. So, rather than ditch the pack or check it at the hotel, or whatever, he still tries to enter with the bag. So, I get in with a group of about 8, and then, my other friend is like, "Where's Mike?" And we're all like, "He came in with us." I don't know, turns out security found the secret pockets immediately and disappeared him into the casino to be handed over to the police. This is my last 20 hours here, so, being an attorney, I was drafted to find him and see what's what. Ruined my last day at the pool. Had to find local counsel. All that shit. Finally, he's charged and released to us at 10 PM. Now he's sober and pissed and looking to score, so I had to ride him all night, just to keep him from F up worse. Ended up just powering through to my 7 AM flight. Of course everyone now knows that story. St. Patrick's Day 2010. My partner and I had our honeymoon in Vegas, and got way too drunk, and had unprotected sex in street parties day. Our first kid was born 9 months, and one day, after we got married, what happens in Vegas doesn't always stay in Vegas. I saw something like this once. What happens in Vegas turns 5 in August or something like that. I work in the conference industry and let me tell you that people think all morality is paused when in Vegas at a work conference. The amount of sex happening is insane. It seems to be just traveling in general that does this to people. I've heard so many travel stories like the ones in this thread. People off on cruises or resorts or flying to East Asia and hooking up with a local when they are already married. I saw a video of a girl that did this and said it didn't feel like cheating because she was in another country and didn't know anyone. My one time there I won enough in a single night to cover the entire trip, buy my girlfriend, now wife, a gift, and come home with over $800 in my pocket. This was 2011, and I think I burned my entire supply of financial luck. I got married in Vegas. My wife left Vegas when I did and moved into my house. And get this, the marriage is valid in all the states.